Welcome to the Side Hustle to Small Business podcast powered by Hiscox. I'm your host, Sanjay. Throughout my career, I've had side hustles, some of which have turned into real businesses. But first and foremost, I'm a serial technology entrepreneur. In the creator space, we hear plenty of advice on how to hustle harder and why you can sleep when you're dead. On this show, we ask new questions in hopes of getting new answers. Questions like, how can small businesses work smarter? How do you achieve balance between work and family? How can we redefine success in our businesses so that we don't burn out after year 3? Every week, I sit down with business founders at various stages of their side hustle to small business journey. These entrepreneurs are pushing the envelope while keeping their values. Keep listening for conversation, context, and camaraderie. Today's guest is Miriam Schulman, the artist behind Schulman Art, and who has dedicated herself to coaching other artists on how to sell their art. Miriam, welcome to the show.
Oh, hey, Sanjay. Thank you so much for having me.
So I'm excited to have you on here because, it's interesting. We've had artists on the show, but we haven't had people talk about artists and how to do the business of art, which I think is a whole nother can of worms. But before we start talking about all of that stuff, give us a little bit about your background and what got you to where you are today.
Okay. So first of all, I had been a self-representing artist for over 20 years, making a sustainable living as an artist, but I didn't always start off that way. So I took the practical route and went to Wall Street. And look, he's laughing at me. And after why does people
I like how you said
that?
The practical route. The practical route is going to Wall Street. Okay.
Well, yeah, I was told I couldn't make a living as an artist. So I said, well, where do they make money? Over there. I was like, okay, that's where I'm going then. But after 9/11 happened, I knew I couldn't go back to that world. And at first, I still didn't believe I could make a living from my art. So I did other things. I painted on the side and I was teaching Pilates. And when the gym wanted me to sell personal training packages and they were giving me sales training, that's when I had my aha moment. I saw that what they were teaching me to sell personal training packages, I could use to sell anything, including art. And so since that time, I built a 6-figure art business. I added on online classes in 2013. I've made millions of dollars selling online art classes. And roughly 2018, that's when I started my podcast. So end of 2018, early 2019 is when artists started asking me, could you please show me how to do it? So now I'm coaching other artists, and that's mostly where I spend my time.
Okay. Is this the first time that you've started something, or did you do anything entrepreneurial as a kid? Or did you have entrepreneurs in the family? Anything like that?
Oh, great question. No parents who are entrepreneurs. Wow, that's the first time someone ever asked me that. No, but I don't like to be told what to do. So it's like, it makes sense now that I work for myself. And the truth is that, once you get started as your own business person, you become unemployable very fast. Like I can't go back. It's like, there's no way. It's like what we were talking about before we hit record. It's like, what, I'm supposed to do the work myself. I can't talk to people all day and tell them what to do. So I have a team. I delegate. I like being bossy.
Yeah. I very much identify with that. Once I think a lot of times when you become an entrepreneur, you become just broken and unemployable by other people. And that has hit me on the head multiple times through life. So that can be a good thing. That can be a bad thing. I guess it is what you make of it. So, okay, let's talk about the business. So, okay, Pilates sales training. That is a funny segue into selling art and art. So, like, what is it that you learned in that process that really gave you that aha moment?
Okay, so I'm actually thinking right now as we're talking, like how similar the gym business model is to a lot of our business models. So so I worked for New York Sports Club, a very large chain of gyms in the New York area and beyond. And they understood that their business model, their biggest source of revenue was not the memberships. It was selling personal training packages. So they invested a lot in us, their employees, to train us on that. Now, this is very similar to what I teach today, which is like, you don't focus on these small little things. If you focus on the large ticket items, you're going to be more successful. Like you only need to, so taking from the gym world, they understood that selling one personal training package for whatever it was, $2,000 is like a year of gym membership revenue from somebody else. So it makes sense that they would invest that kind of time into us. But the types of, techniques that they were teaching me all had to do with relationship building. And that is what I do now. So I did that throughout my business as both an artist, as an online class producer, as a coach. And that's what I teach the artists now. It's about those relationships that are going to build your business.
Yeah, that's interesting. And I think in sales of almost anything, it's about relationships. But why do you feel like artists in particular have this lack of understanding of relationships, or do they? And you know, like,
yeah, I'm not sure that like artists in particular have it. I do know that art schools do a very poor job of not only not teaching them the skills, but kind of reverse teaching, like, oh, selling is selling. You know, if you're successful, you're selling out. Only real artists, blah, 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 blah. When the truth is, the most successful artists throughout history, I'm talking about hundreds of years ago, like Rubens. Rubens was a master marketer. He would make etchings and distribute it to all the crown princes throughout Europe because he knew there was going to be a war and it was going to be tough to get his paintings out. So what is that? They're flyers. What is that? That's the same thing as a Facebook ad. I mean, this is basically what they did. Michelangelo didn't say to the Pope, you know, you want me to paint that ceiling? That's not what I do. I'm so sorry. No, he's like, well, that's not really what I do, but how much? You know, all right, yeah. Where's the scaffolding? I think I could do it, you know. So he didn't say, I'm not a real artist because I'm not doing exactly what my passion is. Right. Sometimes, and I think this part is a harder lesson for artists than for most entrepreneurs, but I think entrepreneurs are guilty of this too. Making money can be very boring. And we always want to chase like the next shiny thing. And once you start to make money, it's not fun anymore. But making money is very boring. You're saying right. So I'm assuming you agree with me.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I think we do have this tendency to chase the shiny thing. Yeah. I think we see that time and time again. But there's so many quote unquote boring businesses that are very, very lucrative, right?
Right. Or let's just say every business is boring. You just have to be willing to do the boring parts.
Right.
Like it is. It doesn't matter if you're an actress or an artist or a weight loss coach. There's going to be parts of your job you just don't like.
Right.
Period.
That's just kind of what it is. And that's what you have to hustle through to get to the other side.
You just have to like the parts you like enough to put up with the parts you don't like. So.
Yeah. So let's talk about you starting this. Was there anything like, I mean, you've had kind of a interesting trajectory, right? Wall Street, doing Pilates, then now coaching artists. Like, was there anything that made you nervous about starting this up? And if so, like, how did you get over that for yourself?
The thing that made me the most nervous when I started being an artist was that I would have to go back to work at a 9 to 5. Like, honestly, I just did not want to do that. So I was really, really motivated. I did have some savings that kind of floated me through those first few years. So I did have the luxury of focusing full time on what I was doing. And it wasn't 6 figures the first year. It was like, maybe it was 8,000, then 24,000, and then it started doubling. So it took me a few years to get to 6 figures, and that was over 20 years ago. So when I was making 60,000, that was nice, you know, like, because it was like 25 years ago I was making that. But not to say that I don't have fears. So I do. We all do. Anytime that we're going to do something that's brand new, that makes us feel uncomfortable, whether that maybe for somebody I coach, that's just sending out an email. They're afraid it's going to bother somebody. For somebody else, it might be putting on a webinar. for me right now, pitching for speaking engagements, I find that intimidating. But anytime we are going to do something that makes us feel uncomfortable, our brain senses discomfort, will register it as fear. You may not feel the fear on that conscious level, but on some level you do. And your brain will come up with all kinds of reasons why it's a terrible idea and you should never do that. Because our brain has evolved for survival, not goal achievement. And it just wants us to stay in the cave and be safe.
Yeah. Yeah. Was there ever a time where you thought about and considered going back to Wall Street, doing the finance thing? Like, was there a point in time where it just didn't seem like this was going to work out, and there was that risk of you having to go back and get a job?
Yeah, there was. So this was before 9/11 happened. There was like a year after my second child was born, and I had quit my job because the hedge fund had blown up, and so I was taking like an extended maternity leave, and I was so tired of the spit up and the diapers, and I went interviewing. And 9/11 happened. And I took that as a sign from the universe. Oh, you want to go back there? Really? So I had witnessed the 93 bombing of the World Trade Center.
Yeah.
I was in that, not in the World Trade Center, but I was in 7 World Trade, right next door.
Yeah.
And the power had gone out. So I walked up to the 37th floor, naively thinking, oh, I'll just go back to work. I didn't know it was a terrorist attack. And when I got up there, I looked out the windows and I saw what was going on, and we learned what was going on. And everybody around me was still working. So that mentality of work no matter what, I could not go back to that.
Yeah. Yeah. Understandable.
Unemployable.
Yeah. Unemployable. Right. Exactly. That's what we are. Okay. Let's talk about the incubator, the kind of the coaching program that you've kind of found yourself into, because everybody kept asking you for this. So how did you think about doing this and starting this up? Because I don't imagine that there's many others doing this. Or are there any others doing this?
Oh, there's a lot of everybody doing coaching. I think I'm one of the few who was both an artist who had made 6 figures and have gotten 6-figure results for my clients. So I've gotten many clients over the 6-figure mark.
Yeah. So what was it that really made you interested in doing this for other people then?
Yeah. When I first started, I was trying to do everything. I was selling my portraits still. I was teaching online classes. And I thought, oh, and I'll also do coaching, because I didn't understand that you really have to focus on one thing. But yeah, so that was at first. And when the pandemic happened and there were so many artists who were just devastated by that, I decided to focus just on creating a legacy for them, for these artists. And that's when I wrote my book, Artpreneur, and dedicated myself to helping other artists have the same success that I had.
Yeah. So in doing that, have you jettisoned like creating art yourself, or really doing that as a business? Like that, I can imagine like doing that would be a tough thing for an artist to do.
I did phase it out, but I'd been selling my portraits for over 20 years. And since I started, that was 25 years. So I don't have to do everything to prove myself anymore. It's kind of, again, going back to Michelangelo, later in his career, he was an architect. He did things, but he didn't do all the things all at once. Yeah. So I don't feel the need to continue to prove myself in all the areas. I've done that.
Yeah. So then how do you take commissions now at this point? Is it like only when you want to, or only if it's somebody you know well, or
that's
based on your time?
Great question. Somebody reached out to me because they wanted, I don't even know how they found me. They wanted me to paint their puppy and their bunny. And I was like, oh my gosh, really? And I said, I don't even want to pick up my paintbrush for less than $1,000. So I quoted them that for a very small painting. And they were like, yeah, okay. Oh, damn, I didn't charge enough. So I didn't even know where my paints were. So but I did do the commission. So I'm not advertising. And this is the thing that a lot of artists and marketers and people in business is you have to market all the time. It doesn't matter how good you are and how you cannot rest on your laurels. If you want to sell whatever it is, you have to market that. So I just don't market it anymore. So they don't find me. I'm hiding. Obviously.
You're hiding.
Obviously.
I like it. Not that well, apparently.
No,
but,
right. Exactly.
You're attempting to hide. Yeah.
Yeah.
So let's talk about kind of the challenges that artists have, right? Like, so we talked about some of them already, but what other things have you seen just time and time again that artists do or rather don't do that hurt them in terms of being financially successful?
Okay. The biggest one, and I have to be honest, this one bites me as well. It's that idea that cheaper is easier to sell. And it just isn't. It just isn't. So I have people who, I have a client right now who gave me $7,000 to coach her, who has not bought my $20 book. She has not. And I just asked her about that yesterday. Do you have my book? She says, no, I'm waiting to get it for my birthday. It's like, really? So that this is not the first time that has happened. So what people want is transformation. It doesn't matter if you're selling coaches or couches. Okay. Coaching programs or couches. So the example I like to give is that if you had nothing in your apartment and you were going furniture shopping, remember, zero furniture. What are you going to buy first? A $6,000 couch or a $400 end table? Rhetorical question. This is very easy. This shouldn't be confusing for anybody. The $6,000 couch. Yeah. Because you need a place to sit and it's going to make and it's going to be a long time before you spend $400 on that end table, even though it's cheaper. But how many times have you done this in your business, offered the little side product that's only $400 because you think people will spend $400 instead of $6,000?
Yeah.
But people want the biggest transformation, whether that is a transformation of their home, a transformation in their life, a transformation in their business. That's what they want.
Yeah. Yeah. No, that absolutely does make sense. You deal with the immediate problems first, and then the other stuff.
So with my artists, they have to learn that the $4,000 painting to put over a couch is going to sell faster than the small $400 painting that people don't know where to put except maybe their bathroom.
Right. That's funny. Obvious once you say it, but it's funny when you think about it. Like, yeah, you're right. That's what people do think time and time again. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Okay, let's talk about like some of the art that you've seen then. I mean, so obviously, like we just talked about, like these big pieces tend to sell sometimes faster because you know exactly where they're going to go.
Yes, they do.
Is there a style, like working with a lot of these artists, is there something that you've seen that connects with more people than others? Like there's certain styles or certain subjects that make more sense?
I love this question and I love my answer for it even more. Okay. So the answer is no. People are not buying medium, style, or subject. They're buying meaning. All right. So it doesn't matter if it's an abstract painting or landscape or sneakers. What is Nike selling? Are they selling sneakers? No, they're selling motivation. They're selling just do it. Every business is like this. We're all selling the meaning. Again, it's come back to what is the transformation the person's going to have? You have to understand that as an artist. What does it mean? Not to you, not that you're painting art because you like painting because it's better than working on Wall Street. No, nobody cares about that. What does it mean for your customer? What does it mean for them?
Yeah. I think it's an interesting point and something that obviously I think applies well beyond art as well. It's not just art that this matters to. It's every startup, every
side hustle. Since we're on the side hustle to small business podcast, every business has this. You have to know what it means for your customer.
Yeah. Okay, let's talk about balance and kind of how you think about running your business and then personal life, right? Like these things for entrepreneurs, they blend into each other very, very easily, more easily than we would hope, right? And so compared to people that have quote unquote regular jobs, right, where they have an office to go to and they have an 8 to 5, and once they leave, they don't have to keep doing it while It's not totally true anymore because we're always tethered to things. But for entrepreneurs, it's even harder because we see opportunities all the time. We do things all the time. We're meeting with people all the time. How do you think about that for yourself in terms of separating these things, the business from the personal and the family life?
Great question. Okay. So first of all, I always schedule my personal stuff first.
Okay.
Like I don't even begin my business day until 10 o'clock when I'm back from my gym. When I'm back to going to the, like, I take care of my body first, take care of that first. And hopefully I'm done working by 5 or 6 o'clock. I'm kind of useless after that time, but it's like, I take care of my personal time first. I don't really work on Fridays and I don't work that much on the weekends either, unless I'm really bored. So,
yeah. So it's a 4-day-a-week kind of focused deal for you.
Yeah. And guess what? My employees, they don't work on the weekends either.
Okay.
Unless they want to. So that is, I have an employee first business, not you work no matter what, like I came from in Wall Street, but employees first.
Yeah. How big is your entire team?
Well, right now we have 2 full-timers, which are about 30 hours a week. One of them is US based, gets healthcare, 401k, all the things. And another one in the Philippines. And then I have contractors. So I have a video editor, a podcast editor, and a Facebook ads manager. Okay. So that's six people.
So for the people that are full-time, especially the one that's US based, do you feel like that work-life balance is something that is a clear benefit? Like, is that a reason to keep people? Like, does it help you in terms of attrition or anything else like that?
Yeah, she started working for me as a $10 an hour college student over 10 years ago.
Oh, wow.
And she's 30 years old now. And like I said, she has a 401k, paid time off. She only works 30 hours a week, barely works on Fridays, never works Saturdays and Sundays. So yes. Yeah. And I've had her for 10 years. And she ever leaves, I may have to close down. I mean, I don't know what I'm going to do.
Yeah, that's the good and the bad of having these employees that are just so stellar, right? Like they make your life so easy, but man, if they were to ever leave, it would be a difficult situation.
Yes. Yeah. So I keep raising her salary. And then that's, there was one year I didn't have as much money. That's when I said, okay, you get 4 weeks paid vacation. It's like, yes.
Is there anything else that you do in terms of that? Like for either your direct employees or your partners and teammates that are outside, to make sure that you are always the top of mind for them and the first thing they want to work on versus anybody else?
I give flowers on their birthdays. I like that. I give bonuses when we launch. They get revenue share from the bonuses. So my Facebook ads manager and my 2 main employees all get bonuses based on the success of the launch. So, but it's harder for me to send things in the Philippines now. But like when my podcast editor's dog died, I sent him flowers. So I'll do things like that. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's nice. I like that. Why the flowers on the birthday? That's an interesting one.
Well, I have a lot of women on my team. The podcast editor, he's a dude, but that's why he got flowers when the dog died. But yeah, they like the flowers.
Yeah.
Listen, women like flowers.
Yeah.
No, period.
It's good. You don't get flowers that often.
That's right.
And so it's
special. It's beyond the money. It shows that you care.
Yeah. Yeah. I like that. Okay. Let's talk about kind of the demanding, like the balance of stress as well. Right. So we talked about delineating this stuff, but you're doing a lot of stuff potentially, right? You've got portraits that you're doing or you're the coaching business or whatever. And sometimes some of these folks have things that are going on or demands on you that are going on that causes stress. Like, how do you manage that for yourself and make sure that it doesn't infect the rest of life?
Okay, well, lots of therapy, first of all. But beyond that, I actually developed a custom GPT. Can I tell you about that? It is free, of course. So it's called the Artpreneur Daily Altar. And it is what I use to organize my day. So if you go to schulmanart.com/altar, or I guess you could just search for Artpreneur Altar on ChatGPT if you know how to find those things. But what it does is it helps you focus on your priorities for the day. But I also created what I call laying on the altar your problems. And then I have it programmed in to have a council of mentors. But you can also say, well, what does Brene Brown think about this problem? Or what would Alex Hormozy do about this problem? You can basically whoever you want. It's kind of like what would Jesus do type of thing. And AI, which is very good at mimicking things and very good at pattern matching, is very good at giving me clarity about reframing some of these problems I have through these different voices. So that's what I find really helpful. And a lot of my clients and my listeners of my podcast like that tool as well.
Yeah. Okay. That's interesting. I did not expect us to be talking about AI stuff in a chat about, coaching artists, but let's talk about that a little bit. Are there other technologies and systems and apps that you use that you would recommend to listeners to help you kind of manage the business or life or whatever it is?
Yeah. So little secret. The reason I was working on Wall Street is because I did come from MIT and I was studying AI there. But I think that these tools are now available for everybody to use. I mean, they've made it so easy for us to create them. So whenever we have something in our business, I'll create like either a custom GPT or we have the Teams version of ChatGPT. Do you know what I'm talking about? Or do you want me to explain to the listeners? So it lets like everyone on your team go to a shared workspace. So we have folders that we share that have uploaded, for example, all of our customer canned responses. So we've uploaded that into a folder so that my support person can ask GPT in an intelligent way based on like these, based this question. It could look up what are the sales pages, what are included in this, what are her general responses, what is Miriam's team, what is her company values that we need to make sure this message includes. So yeah, we actually embrace AI a lot.
Yeah, that's interesting. I don't know that I've heard of many people using it in that way specifically.
For customer service?
Yeah, well, I mean, obviously we've heard about it in customer service, but kind of building your own kind of repository like that so easily, that's kind of an interesting take on some of this stuff. So okay, let's last kind of couple of questions for you. And now, you've been doing this for 20 something years now at this point, right? Thinking back at all the things that have happened and you've done and you've been through, is there anything that stands out to you that like, man, if I could go back in time and do this differently, knowing what I know now, this is what it is. And knowing, of course, that if you did it differently, the outcomes would be different.
Gosh, so many things. Yeah. Like I don't pretend to have done everything right the first time. Like I started off making all the same mistakes, like crowdsourcing my prices. Oh, how much should I charge for a portrait? Well, let me look online. And yes, we had an online back then. It just was very small. So this guy's charging $400. Oh, I'll charge less. No, so like things like that, like it's so cringy. I wish I hadn't done. So, and there's lots more things. I'm so ADD. It's not that I want to pretend to be perfect, but I tend to forget. That's part of like helps me move on is like not to dwell on those mistakes and just keep moving on. You're going to make mistakes. That's part of what you're only going to be successful if you're willing to make those mistakes. Yeah,
exactly. I think that's the key of being an entrepreneur, right? Is making those mistakes, learning from those mistakes and moving on. Because the stories that we always read about entrepreneurs, successful entrepreneurs, is at the end. And there's no discussion about all the beginning times where they made all the mistakes, but nobody was watching at that point. And that is real. That is real for every single one of us.
And
successful
no mom
or not successful.
Ever said to her kid, I don't think this walking is working for you. It's part of the process. I mean, that's what it is.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, last question for you, Miriam. If you were talking to somebody who was thinking about taking the leap like you did and launching either a side hustle or a full-time business, what advice would you give to them?
Yeah. The best piece of advice I love to give people, that I say this to myself over and over again, because as we said earlier, there's going to be so many things that are going to make you feel uncomfortable and you're just not going to want to do it. But successful people are willing to do things that unsuccessful people are not willing to do.
I think that's dead on. Miriam, this has been a fantastic conversation. Where can our listeners find and connect with you?
All right. Well, if you like what you heard today, there's more where that came from the inspiration place. Wherever you're listening to Side Hustle to Small Business, you'll be able to find my podcast. And if you want to check out the Artpreneur Daily Altar, go to schulmanart.com/altar, and you can check that out for free.
Awesome. Thanks so much for being on today.
Thanks for having me.
Thanks for listening to this week's episode of the Side Hustle to Small Business podcast powered by Hiscox. To learn more about how Hiscox can help protect your small business through intelligent insurance solutions, visit hiscox.com. That's HISCOX.com. And if you have a story you want to hear on this podcast, please visit hiscox.com/share your story. I'm your host, Sanjay Parikh. You can find out more about me at my website, sanjayparikh.com.